Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in our amazing universe. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And we're going to be talking today about the power of self-forgiveness. It's called Healing Hearts, the Power of Self-Forgiveness. I personally feel that self-forgiveness is so essential and so important because I feel that so many of us are just so hard on ourselves and we don't cut ourselves any slack. And, it could be a coping mechanism it's a coping mechanism that we deal with, but we are not too nice to ourselves, and we hold on to things, and we probably put so much pressure on ourselves because we didn't live up to our expectations of what we should have done. So I'm really dedicating today's episode to those people who are working on forgiveness, and most importantly on self-forgiveness. And what I really want to talk about today is the power behind self forgiveness, but also why sometimes we get into the states of needing to talk in more depth about self forgiveness, and what are the triggers within us that contribute to that. So, and then, eventually, I think we're going to do a little guided meditation as we go into our third segment, and then we'll wrap it up. But the power of self forgiveness is profound, and it has an impact on our mental, emotional, and physical well being. What's really interesting about the power of self forgiveness, there's mental health benefits. It reduces anxiety and depression. It helps alleviate feelings of guilt and shame, which are common contributors to anxiety and depression. So you see where I'm going here? It's like all interconnected together. It's like this matrix. It's not a linear progression. It's probably connected in ways things, things you could never imagine. And I want to welcome Marlania here, to our episode, and welcome. And if you have any questions or anything, just reach out to us and we'll see what we can answer them for you as we go along. It also has, when we do self-forgiveness, it improves our self-esteem. By forgiving yourself, it enhances your self-worth and confidence by breaking the cycles of self-criticism and negative self-talk. And we do that quite a bit. I think many of us are experts at doing that. And it's really about the awareness that we're doing it so then we could do something different. It promotes cognitive flexibility. And what that means, it's more adaptive thinking and problem solving, and allows you to maybe even better critically think, which that's a lost art these days with critical thinking. So it allows us to um, kind of do a self reflection so we don't make the same mistakes again. It enhances your emotional well-being when we are able to do self-forgiveness. You have emotional healing. Self-forgiveness facilitates the healing process by addressing unresolved emotions and allowing for closure. It's like sometimes we're just so resistant that we just want to stay stuck, and we're um, just stuck. And sometimes we just need to get ourselves out of that stuckness so we can move forward. it's almost like holding a grudge too. It's like when we're having, unforgiveness to ourselves, it's like we're having a grudge with ourselves. And it's kind of a toxic type of environment if you really want to describe it as that, because it just continues to perpetuate itself. It enhances emotional resilience when you're able to self forgive yourself. It builds resilience by helping you learn from your mistakes and move forward without lingering and malingering negative emotions. It increases your empathy. By understanding and forgiving your own mistakes, we are becoming more empathetic and compassionate towards others. And in addition to ourselves. So remember, everything starts within us first. So if we're able to do this for ourselves, it's an energy and it ripples out into the world. It also, the power of self forgiveness has an effect on your physical health. It lowers your stress, which is beneficial to your overall health and wellness. And we know that stress is a big player in lowering our immune system and the effects of our heart health as well. And it improves our sleep by letting go of the guilt and regret can lead to better quality of sleep by reducing nighttime rumination. It's like you go over and over and over in your head and stress. And I really want to really drive this home. Sleep is so important and rest is so important, because if your body is not getting that rejuvenative sleep, that also puts a stressor on your physical health and causes a lot of issues down the line. Also, the benefits, one of the other benefits of self forgiveness, it's you have better interpersonal relationships. By self forgiveness can lead to healthier relationships by reducing projection of your anger or disappointments onto others, fostering a more positive outlook. So what is really kind of interesting is that when we are able to shift what's going on within ourselves, it's easier for you to really show up better for everybody else in your life. Because remember, everything is energy. When we start working on ourselves and start healing our aspects of ourselves and becoming more aware of those aspects, when we are able to go a little deeper and embrace and heal that, it's a ripple effect. The energy shifts within us and it ripples out into our environment. It's like the pebble in the pond. You're the pebble and the pond is everybody else. When you drop your pebble into the pond, it resonates and ripples out into all aspects and it affects everything. So your relationships get better. Also, your personal growth, it encourages self reflection. Self forgiveness involves self reflection, which is essential for personal growth and development. And it actually helps you with your accountability too. And I'm not talking about excusing your behaviors or anything like that. It's acknowledging, taking responsibility, and learning from it. It's not about beating yourself up, and feeling the shame and, just going into shame and guilt about this, because I think there's a lot of that happens for many of us. It's about cutting ourselves some slack and giving ourselves grace. It helps individuals move past setbacks and maintaining a hopeful and motivated attitude towards future goals. And there's also spiritual benefits too. You will have more inner peace as time goes on, because when you're able to forgive yourself, you are able to, it's like realigning who you are on the inside. Instead of having things being drawn in different directions, it's like everything comes consolidating into the whole and reinforces that that essence of who you are. It's like calling back parts of yourself that have been off in another part of another time and place. So these are some of the things that I think are really important, about the benefits of self-forgiveness. And, I want to touch on the thing too. Sometimes you wonder, is grief and self-forgiveness linked? And indeed, it really is. A lot of times when we're grieving, I think we can have the tendency to go into a rabbit hole of, trying to figure out or reanalyze what happened and, having remorse and also, I wouldn't say remorse. It's like wishing that you have done things a little differently. It's about, um, you know, it's about taking ownership, but also, I want to say, witnessing what's going on versus like really repeating the same thing over and over in your mind, over and over and over, and just continually beating yourself up. It's about breaking that cycle so you could pull yourself out of it, so you could look at it and witness it from outside of continually being in it. And I hope that makes sense to people, because sometimes we're just so caught up in what is going on. It's like a replay of a pattern that is just constantly on, replay, and it's going over and over and over. And, it's creating more and more angst for ourselves. And it's almost like it's a snowball rolling down a hill, and it becomes this big, big, massive um, concern. So, grief and self forgiveness can be deeply intertwined, and here's how. If we have loss and regret, okay, if you're blaming yourself for, maybe what's happened, um, acceptance and compassion, self forgiveness is often a crucial part of the grieving process. It involves accepting one's own imperfection and mistakes with compassion and understanding. And that's key. It's about, and I'm going to repeat this, acceptance and compassion. It's about it involves accepting one's imperfections and mistakes with compassion and understanding. So, healing and closure, forgiving oneself can be essential for finding peace and closure after loss. It allows individuals to let go of burdens of guilt and self blame, freeing up emotional energy to focus on healing and remembering the positive aspects of the relationship or situation. So it's really about, okay, experience what that is. Please don't get stuck in it, and know that you're a human and you're doing the best you can. Remember, you've come to the University of Earth to learn, so your soul could grow at a very deep level. And we're all here working on our PhDs and being human. So it's really important to just allow yourself the grace and just learn from the experience, because this is where the growth is going to come. And it's not like you're a bad person or anything. You're not. You're just a human being, just having an experience. And it doesn't have to look a certain way, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just what it is. So I invite you to just really embrace that and really step into that and lean into that as you are working on yourselves and working on your own self forgiveness. A lot of us have regrets and wish that we could have done things better or differently, and that's okay. It's just don't stay stuck in the loop of that, because what we know is that whatever you continue to be aware of and what you focus your attention on, you're going to create more and more of that. And if you really doubt that, just try that. I mean, look at your life. What are you thinking? What are you focusing on? And you'll see how the trend is happening in your life. So, you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and we are talking about the power of self forgiveness, healing hearts, the power of self forgiveness. And when we come back from our break, we'll talk more about that. Stay tuned.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're talking about healing hearts, the power of self-forgiveness, and we're on the Dr. Dolores Show, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, and we're on the Inspired Choices Network. And before break, I was talking and sharing about what self-forgiveness is all about and how it affects our overall well-being and our mental, emotional, spiritual side of who we are, but also how grief can be interlaced with that and affect our need to, it goes hand in hand with our ability to beat ourselves up and the need for self-forgiveness. So what I'd like to talk about now is, being hard on ourselves can often be a coping mechanism for a deeper underlying issue. And a lot of times, we aren't aware that this is what's happening. It's like the tip of the iceberg. But what's really going on underneath that iceberg is some other things that I want to address and talk about. So oftentimes there's a fear of failure, those perfectionism behaviors and the need to control. And we had a couple of episodes over the last year on the Dr. Dolores Show on being perfect. And so it's that little voice of that highly self-criticism that can stem from a fear of failure or a belief that perfection is necessary for acceptance or success. So it really goes the whole thing about not being, holding yourself to such a high standard that you're not able to forgive yourself really contributes. The fear of failure contributes to this. Also, what's underneath the tip of that iceberg of the need to not forgive ourselves is low self-esteem. We might have a negative self-image, or maybe our self-talk isn't the most stellar. Sometimes we aren't the nicest to ourselves. We say some really mean stuff to ourselves in the quiet of our mind, but it all happens. And also maybe you're looking for validation seeking too. And, so self-criticism can be a way to preemptively counteract expected criticism from others seeking validation through self-improvement. Internalized expectations is another way that people, mask themselves to the whole thing of the power of self-forgiveness. So there's, that we hold ourselves to high standards and we're always comparing ourselves to others, which these are all under the surface of what's really driving the need to not forgive ourselves. Also, there's guilt and shame. A lot of times people, live in the past and there's unresolved guilt or shame about past actions, and they can manifest as ongoing self-criticism. Self-punishment, being hard on oneself, can form it can be a form of self-punishment for perceived wrongdoings or failures. And these are all different coping mechanisms for not the power of self-forgiveness. It's like these are like the coping mechanisms that are below the surface that are really driving this inability to forgive yourself. So these are some things to look at, and there's a few more. Anxiety and stress. Sometimes self-criticism can be a way to manage anxiety by trying to control one's behavior and avoid mistakes. So it's almost like the anxiety is a self-soothing mechanism that is kind of driving the undercurrent of what's going on below the surface. And these are the things that we aren't really aware of, but they are all contributing to the need to not forgive ourselves. Maybe there's a fear of rejection. If you're a people pleaser or you feel like you need to belong, um, you know, and you try to fit in, even though you're not fitting in, then maybe this is something else to look at. And then there could be, some trauma and abuse in your life. And a lot of times we all, to some extent, have internalized trauma. Okay. And there's more and more available to us today in regards to knowing what is really happening underneath the surface. And this is kind of bringing up something for me that I want to share, because recently I went to an event, and I really, I love going to events because I'm always learning something new. I always love to explore and, just show up and learn something new. So I went to this event, and much to my um, surprise, I actually knew about this, but I really didn't know the whole background of it. Did you know that when things happen in our childhood, okay, that it really affects the underlying current? It's just like whatever that trauma is, it's like fast freezes in your beingness, and your body starts doing things and accommodating itself to do what it can to protect it. And in case in point, there was a study that was done by a pediatrician who is in the Bay Area, and she was studying why certain things are happening to people at certain ages, and how it was affecting their overall health and well-being as they were transitioning from adulthood into you know transitioning into adulthood, basically. And what she found was that there was one case study that she mentioned, and it has a lot to do with how people perceive what's happening to them. It's almost like they go into a PTSD mode, and their body starts um, kind of what is it? It goes into react mode, and it's constantly in hyperdrive, and it's trying to protect itself from that incident. So, in case in point, what had happened, she had interviewed a patient that came into her clinic, and he was about 7 years old, but he appeared very short stature, and he was almost stunted at growth from age 4. From age 4, he didn't grow any, and he was age 7. And so she had asked the mother, what had been going on at the time. And apparently, what had happened at the time, they were in, a low income area part of the city, and they had taken on a housemate. It was a friend of the father's, and to help make ends meet. And apparently, at age 4, the mom walked into the bathroom in the shower, and the man was in the shower with her son at age 4. So there was like this pedophile thing that kind of was happening. But from that point forward, that poor child was stunted and stuck at age 4. So it's interesting because I know that when this particular person was, the physician was looking at this at that time, she said, she was way ahead of her time with connecting the dots in the matrix, if you want to call that, of what is the underlying conditioning of things as we move forward. So just remember that trauma and abuse also, especially if we were violated, really has an impact on forgiving ourselves, because maybe we feel like we should have been better or we could have done something different. Just know that you're safe and secure now, and that it's important for you to really come to peace and to come to healing with that, and allow yourself the grace so you can move on and move beyond being stuck and surviving to thriving. So this kind of circles into like addressing the root causes. So how do we address the root causes to allow us to be able to forgive ourselves? Therapy, like I said, big doses of self-compassion. Do what you can to practice self-compassion and counteract self-criticism and promote a kinder, more understanding relationship with oneself. It's not a one and done, it's a journey. It's not a destination. This might be an ongoing thing that you need to really continue to practice and lean into and take baby steps with. And I know you can do this because I have done it and I know other people have done it too. Mindfulness. We talk a lot about mindfulness on the Dr. Dolores Show. Mindfulness is like the foundational piece, I feel, to allow you, it's like the gateway process that allows you to step into your essence, your inner wisdom, your physical body. It allows you to be present right here, right now, and not live in the past or in the future. That was a lot to share. Another thing you could do is journaling, but also, surround yourself with people who are like-minded and also who are going to be supportive towards you. And I know sometimes when you are not feeling 100% and not feeling good about yourself, it could be a challenge just to even extend. It's almost like you want to hide under a rock, and that's okay too. Just don't stay under that rock forever, because it's time to lift that rock and crawl out and step back into the world with a different understanding, maybe, of who you are and what you want to do. So, how do we practice self forgiveness? Well, first of all, we acknowledge the mistake and honestly recognize what happened and your role in it. And just remember, it's all lessons, okay? And when you're able to acknowledge your errors and mistakes, or not, and not project that onto other people, this is where your power is, because you have choice. Understand the context, consider the circumstances and the factors that contributed to the mistake. Sometimes we're just at the wrong place at the wrong time and stuff happens. Or maybe it was supposed to happen for whatever reason to allow your soul to grow at a very deep and profound level. It's just our perception of what happens sometimes that keeps us locked in this loop of beating yourself up and not forgiving yourself. Okay. Show compassion. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would offer a friend. Make amends. If possible, take steps to rectify the mistake and make amends with those affected. And I think that's key, because it shows that you are offering the olive branch, but also do it without expectation, just to make, it's about allowing you to feel better. It's not about how it's going to affect other people. That's their choice, how they choose to receive that. Learn and move forward. Reflect on what you can learn from the experience and use it to improve future behavior. We've all had those instances in our lives where we've done things and we've lived to regret that. And we know that you have made a vow to yourself in that moment that that will never happen again because you just didn't like how you behaved in that particular situation. So we've all had those moments, and you know that that will never happen again because that instance has made you a better person in retrospect because of what you experienced. So self forgiveness is a powerful tool that promotes holistic well being and empowers individuals to live more fulfilling and balanced lives. So we had a lot to digest in this segment, and there's a lot to think about, a lot to lean into, a lot to feel, a lot to experience. And sometimes when we are in it, we can't see the forest from the trees. So we're going to go on to another break. And when we come back, we're going to hop into a guided meditation that's going to help you embrace self forgiveness for yourself. So you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're on the Inspired Choices Network. So stay tuned, and we'll see you when we come back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about healing hearts, the power of self-forgiveness on the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And if you really like what you're hearing here, share it with others and also like us. We're on many different platforms, over 300 platforms, international platforms, and your favorite ones. Just go and just share the word. We really want to get the word out and let people know that there's hope and transformation and the ability to create the life that you want. And you could also get in touch with me at my website, drdoloresfazzino.com. So before we were on our break, we were talking about some of the things that also are, we would say unforgiveness is at the tip of the iceberg, but what's underneath the iceberg, underneath the surface, are the unconscious parts that are triggering us and causing us to go into that coping mechanism of not forgiving ourselves. So what I'd like to do now is bring you guys into a 5-minute guided meditation for self forgiveness, because we all know what it is and how we could possibly move through it. But I want you to have an experience that's going to allow you to want to lean in more and to want to look at that and feel the yumminess when you're on the other side of it. So right now, I want you to get into a comfortable position. And if you're driving, please don't do this while you're driving. So Find a comfortable and quiet place where you could sit down or lie down and close your eyes and take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin to relax. Take another deep breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs, and slowly breathe out, releasing any tension. Notice the sensations in your body, starting at your feet. Let your feet relax completely. Slowly moving your awareness up to your legs, your hips, your abdomen, and your chest. Feel each part becoming loose and relaxed. And continue this relaxation up through your shoulders, down your arms to your hands. And finally, relax your neck, your jaw, your face, and your head. Your entire body is now at ease. Now, focus on your breath. Breathe in deeply through your nose and exhale gently through your mouth. With each inhale, imagine drawing in peace and calm. With each exhale, let go of any guilt, tension, or self-judgment. Continue this for a few breaths, feeling more centered with each cycle. Now imagine yourself in a safe, serene place, like a quiet garden or a peaceful beach. In this place, you see a gentle, compassionate version of yourself approaching. This self embodies love, understanding, and forgiveness. Picture this compassionate self standing in front of you, ready to offer forgiveness. They look at you with kindness and speak these words: I forgive you. You are human, and it's okay to make mistakes. You are deserving of love and forgiveness. As you hear these words, imagine a warm, soothing light radiating from your compassionate self and enveloping you. Feel this light melting away any lingering guilt or shame. Let it fill your heart with understanding and peace. Repeat silently after me. I am worthy of forgiveness. I release my past mistakes. I embrace myself with compassion. I am at peace. Take a few more deep breaths, feeling lighter and more serene with each one. When you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and when you feel comfortable, open your eyes. Carry this sense of peace and self-forgiveness with you throughout your day. Remember, you are worthy of love and understanding, especially from yourself. Well, welcome back, everybody. You could feel the calmness in the room. And I know you could feel the calmness within yourselves as well. Self-forgiveness is so important. When you're able to give yourself the grace of allowing yourself to slip up, make a mistake. Remember, you may consider relabeling mistake as educational opportunity. It's a growth opportunity. You will gain so much wisdom when you're able to observe and witness the whole situation from that perspective. Instead of being reactive and going down the rabbit hole of not forgiving yourself and beating yourself up, you're able to transform your life and heal your life. You're able to witness what's going on, and you could choose a different response, a response on how you're going to treat yourself. Okay. So it all starts with us first. If you're able to be kind and loving and compassionate and forgiving to yourself, it's an essence, it's a vibration, and it ripples out into the world. And you're going to be attracting more and more that's in alignment with that. More kindness, forgiveness and compassion in your world as well, because you're raising your frequency to that higher vibration. So you're going to attract those things that are similar to it. It's that simple. So I just want to really circle back in the importance of some of the things that we talked about earlier. Really look at how you cope with things. A lot of times, many things that we do, the coping mechanisms are unconscious, okay? We're not aware that we're doing it. But once we're aware of it, you can't go back to being unaware, okay? It's like once you're awake, you can't go back to being asleep, especially when you're on your spiritual journey. Well, you could try, but it's just not going to be the same because you have this wealth of knowledge now that you're able to tap into. It's like more tools to your tool chest. So you're able to maneuver and work with that more and more so. When we start really working on ourselves and cleaning up those deeper aspects that sometimes maybe we're not aware of, or maybe we are consciously aware of that are there, that are still driving us, it's up to us to pivot and make that change. And I know that it's not for the faint of heart. There's no bypass to it. Okay. You can't just pretend that it's not there. It's energy. It's still there. It's still running the show. Until you acknowledge that energy or experience that or put it in its rightful place and heal it and put it in its rightful place, it's still going to be running your show. And nobody else is doing it to you. You kind of are doing it to yourself. So this is not about to beat you up more, and it's about opening your awareness to other possibilities of what may be going on. So we're going to be segmenting off to another break. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, and we're on Inspired Choices Network. And today we're talking about healing hearts, the power of self-forgiveness. So stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll just wrap it up and share some more juicy details. Oh my God.
Tuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We had a little glitch there with our producer. Love you, Christine. Anyway, welcome back to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And we've been talking about healing hearts, the power of self-forgiveness. And, we've had a pretty interesting segment here because we talked about what self-forgiveness is and what are some of the underlying issues that prevent us from forgiving ourselves. And we also did a meditation in the last segment. So if you had an opportunity not to listen to it, I invite you to go back and listen to it. It was very powerful. Um, you know, I want to say what's really important here is I want to give you 5 takeaways from this episode. Um, Self-forgiveness is vital for your well-being. Self-forgiveness is crucial for your mental, emotional, physical, and I'm going to say spiritual, ancestral, and dimensional health. It helps reduce anxiety, depression, improves self-esteem, promotes emotional resilience. And by forgiving ourselves, we can let go of guilt and shame, leading to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. Another takeaway is being hard on ourselves often masks deeper issues, and we went into depth about that. Self criticism can be a coping mechanism for underlying issues such as fear of failure, low self esteem, internalized expectations, guilt and shame, anxiety, stress, fear of rejection, and past traumas. Recognize this can help you address the root causes of your self-critical behavior. And it's really about getting to the root about what drives us. When you're able to heal it at the root, it's like pulling a thread from a tapestry. You just pull it out and it just is gone. Another takeaway is comparison and understanding. Oh, not comparison, compassion. I got to put my glasses on. Jesus Christ. Compassion and understanding are essential. Treating ourselves with compassion and understanding is crucial for self forgiveness and overturning self criticism. Practicing self compassion can counteract negative self talk and promote a healthier relationship with ourselves. Another takeaway is mindfulness and reflection aid in healing. Mindfulness and reflection are powerful tools in the journey of self forgiveness. They help us become aware of our self critical thoughts and understand the deeper issues behind them and choose more constructive responses. This is about your awareness and being aware. Techniques such as meditation, journaling, therapy, mindful activities can also facilitate this process. And lastly, support systems are important. And I think support is more important today than ever because everybody is going through major, major stuff. you're not alone. People are going through very similar things. And sometimes when you come together, you could get support. And it's not about dwelling on what's happening, it's about offering support to people to encourage them to move forward and not get stuck in whatever's going on. Building a supportive network of friends, family, or support groups can provide an external validation and encouragement needed to overcome self-criticism. Therapy and counseling are another adjunct as well. And you know what? If you are ever in need of moving through things, I work with people one on one. I also have other educational opportunities on my website. Please reach out to me at Dolores at Dr. Dolores Vizino, and I'd be more than happy to help you. And so there's just a lot going on in our world right now. And too often people are scrambling around, reacting, projecting, lots of projection. And just be aware that everybody's hurting right now in some aspect. And it has nothing to do with you. It also is just a sign of our times. It's time for many of us to heal all this stuff at a very deeper level. So when you are stepping up in your world, things are going to get much better and much better. So let's talk about next week. One of my favorite topics is you've been upgraded. And what people don't really realize about that, a lot of times when we think bad things are happening to us, it's just an energetic shift that you're experiencing. What has been working before is no longer an energetic match, be it a relationship, a work situation, a housing situation, a health situation. And what you need to do is realize that, okay, as this is falling away, it's creating a void for something that's more energetic aligned for you. So it's like you're getting upgraded. So join us next week when we talk about the journey of self discovery and transformation in an explorative title called You've Been Upgraded. And we're going to talk about the deeper reality beyond the tangible world, one that holds the keys to unlocking your true potential. And this is about realizing that things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. So join us next week because I think you'll really find that this topic is so crucial right now as many of us are transitioning through lots of upgrades. Okay. People are changing jobs. My belief is that, this happens for a reason. If you're energetically raised your vibration and you're matched to something or in a work situation, that you've had for a while, but it's not growing with you, but you've outgrown it energetically, it's going to fall away. It's not a bad thing. And you could go down that rabbit hole of clinging on to that and thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do next? I need to pay my bills. I invite you to look at it differently. So stay tuned next week and enjoy our episode coming up. You've been upgraded. So, as I circle back here, I just want to just leave you with these words for the day here. Remember, you are worthy of love and forgiveness, especially from yourself. Every step you take towards self-forgiveness is a step towards a more peaceful and fulfilling life. It's okay to make mistakes. They are part of the human experience and opportunities for growth. Be gentle with yourself, practice self-compassion, and embrace the journey of healing and self-discovery. You have the strength within you to overcome self-criticism and build a kinder relationship with yourself. Believe in the ability to change, grow, and thrive. You deserve happiness and serenity. wishing you peace and strength on your path to self-forgiveness. See you next week. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.